You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's America's Next Top Model After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's America's Next Top Model After Show.
Welcome, everybody. Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another episode of America's Next Top Model, Season 19, Episode 7, The Girl Who Licks the Floor.
Yikes.
So our lead host, Jackie, is out of the country this week, and she is super sorry to not be able to be here. But holding the fort down is myself, your host, Erika Vieira, and my two lovely co-hosts here.
Hi, I'm Lauren Leonelli.
Thank you very much for that nice introduction. I'm Alikona Bradford, and definitely excited to talk about this episode.
Yeah, and we also have a special guest who will be calling in momentarily. Last week's eliminated contestant, Allysa, so we're super pumped and excited to talk to her. Gorgeous, amazing girl, and really excited to see what she has to say. But we only have so much time here, so let's get started with the episode.
Let's do it.
What did you guys think overall?
It was interesting. I feel like going into it, a lot of times I know who's going to get eliminated. I was a little bit confused. I had a feeling Allysa was going to get eliminated, but then there was so much focus on Victoria and her issues that I wasn't sure where it was going to go.
I feel definitely very similar to that, Alikona. I feel like they kind of hinted towards Allysa, and I did have that feeling as well, but then I started to go, hold on, is Victoria cracking?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she did well in the photo shoot because I think she's very talented, but yes, more as the episode went on, I saw where it was going, but I liked the road trip too. I thought that was really cute. It got them out of the house.
Yeah, let's get into that. I thought that I have to agree. I thought this challenge was a lot of fun. It was definitely a challenge more geared towards modeling.
Thank you.
Whereas in the past they did the video game, the movement, the acting, and this was a fun way to kind of see them not necessarily in a stylized photo shoot, but what they can kind of do on their own. So, you know, for this week's episode, they had a road trip from LA to Palm Springs, and they had to stop 3 times and do what Tyra called
Random acts
of modeling.
Yes.
How cute was that?
Yeah,
I love that.
I think it was a really, really good challenge and a really relevant challenge because, yes, because of the modeling, because social media was like, I feel like it wasn't directly connected to social media, but if you are involved in social media, you're in charge of what you tweet and what pictures you put up and all of that. So it was a nice collaboration of how it works. This is how you take a photo. This is how you're on the other side of the camera. This is how you can look like a model when you're just in the airport or wherever. And then it was directly connected to the Nylon magazine, which is what one of their prizes. And they got to host a little bit. They got to stand on the sidelines and talk and show their personality. So I loved the all-encompassing aspect of this challenge, and I loved watching them kind of race for it too. It was definitely a challenge.
And like you said, Lauren, it's totally relevant. And Nylon magazine, you know, I'm sure you guys are super familiar with it. It's a very modern kind of stylized magazine, but just almost like totally encompassing the random acts of modeling. All the photo shoots that you see are very much like that. They're not so posed. They're very kind of laid back, casual, but hyper, almost like just pretty edgy. And I think
they're edgy for sure, but they're definitely like in a bathroom putting on lipstick or something that's not like on a set.
More of like everyday.
It feels real. It feels very real, and that's what they did. And they did a good job. Some of the girls' pictures turned out really well.
I want to talk about the teams too, just to break it down for anybody who maybe missed the episode. There was 2 teams. We had Laura, Brittany, and Kristin. Laura, Brittany, Kristin, and Alyssa. On one team, and I thought it was really interesting because they had such a different attitude from team 2, which was Victoria, Nastasia, and Kiara. Team 1 was so like, let's have fun. This is going to be a blast. Totally like partied it out and just rocked it out. And in turn, their pictures came out really nice. I thought they were going to be a sloppy mess. Then you look at Kiara, who went into mama mode, and it was strategizing the entire thing, and they took it so seriously. I thought it was going to be great. Yeah. And then I think they over-strategized. They were wearing gowns at this podunk nowhere restaurant. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
I think that's where you can kind of overthink when it comes to art, acting, modeling. Sometimes when you're too in your head, it's not so good. There has to be an element of being prepared and then letting go. And I think that they kind of, Team 1 had fun, you know, with that. And Laura, actually, they divided themselves up before the challenge, the girls, and then Laura was the extra girl, and she got to pick which team she wanted to be on, and she picked the right team and won the challenge. Yeah.
And it was a good challenge too, because you could actually really see a lot of their personalities come through, and especially in the world of modeling, you know. Yeah, they're a model, they're there, but the personality and in regards to how you can really handle it really matters.
Of course.
And when you see this, they had a little bit more autonomy in this challenge where they could kind of do what they wanted, make their own decisions. And it was interesting to see how they went about doing that. Like Kiara kind of, like you said, took the role. And I think at the beginning of the episode, she said she's the tough love kind of mom. And, you know, she wanted to take Victoria under her wing, and Victoria was freaking out. And you can really see a lot of their personalities come through in this challenge. And I think with the team, with Victoria, Nastasia, and Kiara, they're such strong personalities that I don't think they had that vibe that the other team did.
Right.
The other 4 girls seemed to just have more of a natural vibe together and kind of be more on the same page. Right. Whereas the other ones were just...
it was like too many cooks in the kitchen. They didn't mesh well or something. And I think, too, in general, both teams had a little bit of trouble with getting the random acts of modeling, like with the definition of that, because some of them got it right, like Laura with the cotton candy. That was like a random act of modeling. She's eating cotton candy, but she turned it into like a model-esque type photo. But then like Victoria, who I think takes great photos, I usually like her photos, she was standing on the Statue of Liberty on that one, the first stop, I think. Yeah. And she's like, ooh, I want the Statue of Liberty, or the tractor, for example. And she just was modeling. Maybe had she been driving the tractor, they had trouble
understanding exactly what Tyra wanted out of it. I completely agree. And the girls that ended up winning ultimately were the ones that understood that more. Because it's surprising too, like, and I want to get your guys' opinion and feedback on this. You would think someone like Nastasia would be almost like a no-brainer winner in this situation. Yeah. She looks like such a Nylon model.
And she's a great host, too.
Yeah, and I don't think she ended up really interpreting, like you said, Lauren, she didn't interpret really what Tyra was asking of them. Like, who do you guys think, was the best in your opinion? Or best and worst?
I liked Kristin's bathroom photo. What was she doing? Was she putting on lipstick? Did I just make that up? Or
I know she was just over the sink.
She was over the sink, yeah.
And I think what she had on was great. Her outfit was great. She looked great. She looks like a Nylon girl to me. And the background of the photo was very Nylon. It just fit to me. I think that was one of my favorite photos that stands out. And then the worst photo, I mean, I like Victoria, but I really didn't like the tractor photo. Oh, you know what was weird? The desert photos where they were like at the windmill.
The windmill,
farm.
Windy. Yeah,
it's so
a windmill.
There was a couple of girls on the ground that I think maybe Alyssa might have been one of them. I don't remember, but also Laura, who I think takes great photos too. They looked a little like, what are you doing? That is not a random act of modeling. What are you doing?
And they didn't have a lot to work with. Like, I didn't think it was necessarily the best idea when they went out into the middle of nowhere desert. It's like, I guess you can kind of take your own props from the trailer and kind of figure things out. Right. But that environment wasn't
conducive to a random act of modeling.
Like it's 2 stops off at the side of the street for a windmill. But I'll have to say, one of my favorites actually was Laura. Despite the personality that I don't care for that she has, I think that she interprets direction very well. She understands what's being asked for her, not even in this episode, but just other episodes in the past. At the same time, though, I was waiting to see when she was going to get grounded. And I'm really excited that she did this episode because I felt like her brain was about to combust. She was trying to play off that I'm very humble, but we know that she's got a little bit, she's big-headed.
It was affecting her.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's that humble. But what's interesting to go back to the beginning of the episode, just to kind of touch a little bit on that, and you mentioned Laura, was that it was a little interesting how she picked the room by herself.
Yes.
Kind of reminiscent of what Victoria did, you know, a few weeks back, and she's like, you know, this is it. This is my competition, and I'm gonna be in this room by myself.
But she's like that when she's alone.
But I will say, like, this was very Laura, though. I don't know if you caught this, but she didn't just say, you know what, guys, I want this to myself. This is my competition. She didn't say that. She said, I just don't know who to pick. I just can't pick just one of you. Like, that was her excuse as to why she was. It's like,
she's smart.
Yeah,
she is. She's
but
smart.
how do people not, like, on the episode where she started crying and she was accusing Leela of being obsessed with her, and then she turned it around and said, well, everyone just thinks I'm obsessed with myself, and you're not my true friend if you didn't come talk to me. That to me was very transparent. This is the same stuff. Like, it's very transparent for her to be like, I can't pick one of you.
Yeah, I think it's just manipulative, honestly.
I agree. It's transparent to us because we're watching it.
Yeah, maybe.
And you know, but in the situation, she could have 2 minutes before been, you know, right there being super sweet and nice to everybody and act really nice to everybody the whole time, and so, you know, I just want to do it on my own, and she might have this, and actually I think Yvonne mentioned this last week too, is that all the girls really did seem to get together and get along really well. So maybe for her it wasn't as, for the other girls there, it wasn't as transparent.
I mean, I'm not trying to say like she's some crazy, mean, manipulative girl. I'm just saying it looks a little like I'm trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth here, because when she interviews, she's not like malicious, but she's like, she's a little more direct, and I think she probably could be a little more direct and the girls might still respect and understand it. It just, it comes off a little like, ooh, but you know what, everyone does that. I mean, you're trying to be diplomatic. You live in a house full of a bunch of girls. It's not the stupidest thing for her to be that way. It just, you know, it looks a little fun on TV. It does seem a little.
It does. I mean, it seems transparent to all of us. But you know, going back to Laura, I mean, she was the team, the winner. The winner. The winning team.
Their team won, and then she won.
Yeah. And so, what did you guys think about that?
I agreed to an extent. There was somebody else's picture that I thought was really excellent and was surprised. Oh, you know what? It was Kristin. You mentioned that as one of your favorites. I actually thought that was really good too. And just really quickly about her, I think we got to see her in a little bit of a different light. I feel like we saw, like a little bit more of the human side of her. Like she was
even at the end, to interject for a second, sorry, Alikona, but when the elimination happened in the judging room, she cried and told the eliminated girl that she loved her. She said, "I love you," and I said, "Oh, here we go."
And I was going back to what Yvonne said last week about, you know, Kristin, she looks bad, but we all really actually got along, and she's not as bad as she seems. So, you know, going back to that, like I agree with Kristin. We kind of got to see maybe more of that side that we didn't haven't been able to see in the past.
And she did take a good photo in the challenge, the nylon challenge. She took a good photo.
And so they did tell them the ratings. So like team 1 won. And then each of the girls, they gave a numerical, you know, judging score. So Alyssa got 7, Brittany got 6, Kristin 8, and Laura 9. So the 2 lowest scores actually were Brittany and then Victoria on the other team, on team 2.
6s.
She got a 6 as well.
And it's
poor girl. She's devastated.
You could see her. She's falling apart.
And the girls were getting worried. You could tell, and they were. Even from the challenge point, you could tell they were like, she's really stressed out. We can feel it. And then once the challenge was finished and they got home, and they really, and after the photo shoot, they really saw that
she's obsessive.
That she's like very fragile. They used that word a lot to describe her. And then they were worried about her eating habits and her health. And Nastasia was like genuinely worried. So yeah, I mean, Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria got a 6, and then the other 2 girls, Kiara got a 7, and then Nastasia got an 8. So just to kind of wrap up the challenge and everything, Team 1 won. Laura won again. I mean, she is just
on
second and
rocking it. Yeah, I mean, she is really going out there and like gangbusters with these challenges and everything. And you know, Lauren, I think it goes to what you say. She's sharp. She understands, and Alikona, you said that too. She gets kind of what is being asked of her, and she's pretty much delivering what they're asking for. So I think she's right now got a leg up on, you know, the competition there. But yeah, I mean, let's start talking a little bit about Victoria. I mean, that was a huge focus of this episode, and you know, we all predicted this, that she's fragile, that, you know, seeing past episodes, it seemed like they kind of alluded to the fact that she isn't so stable, that she's pretty dependent on her mother. And now the focus is not just that she's homeschooled and a little off. Now the focus is, uh-oh, is there some kind of weird medical eating disorder?
Yeah. I think, you know, I mean, I don't know about, I think a large percentage of the population deals with anxiety, and clearly what she's dealing with is a type of anxiety, maybe separation anxiety, I don't know. But I know that anxiety is definitely, from personal standpoint, affects your appetite. Sometimes it makes you overeat, sometimes it makes you lose your appetite. So I get it. I kind of do think that she's just dealing with anxiety. I don't want to act like I'm diagnosing her, but it doesn't seem like there's an eating disorder there from whatever they're showing or what we're seeing. But I mean, all the girls are talking about how they notice a difference in her body.
Yeah, you can see it though.
I think
you can see it.
I think she's dealing with anxiety and just a loss of appetite. But I mean, it just comes out sounding so like really kind of different than what, I mean, she's like, Mom, I can't eat without you. I just can't taste food. It's like,
but it's not just the eating though, it's the excessive exercising. So I mean, that's where I agree with you in that. It's true. Like, I'm kind of the same way. Like, there's some people who, when they get very nervous and they're in new situations, they either overeat or they undereat. And I kind of lose my appetite too. That's why I felt with her and what she was saying. But at the same time, something is motivating her to go out and work out like that. Well, which, you know, is... I was gonna say, which is, those two coupled is a very dangerous situation.
Dangerous combo. I agree, but I will say this just to interject, and you know, maybe the lack of eating and the overworking out makes it look like it's a weight problem thing in her mind, but also working out has been proven to help release endorphins and like help you out in an anxious situations. I've had, like, you know, a doctor tell me that when you're feeling really anxious, go work out. It's really good for you. It helps stimulate things. So maybe just naturally it feels good for her to do that, but it does end up looking a little fishy.
Honestly, but then you see her in the backyard with the chess pieces working out.
I mean, I have to say, I'm glad you brought that out because I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Like, they're all serious and with the chess pieces going, squatting.
Well, and the thing is, like, you have a treadmill, so clearly there's like there's equipment there for you. So I thought it was kind of an interesting choice in weights. But I just want to go back to what you guys are saying. I don't know if you remember, but I noticed a few episodes back that every time we talk to Victoria, she always says, the anxiety is just coming over me. Like, she is focused on that stress and she's letting the competition get to her. And I feel like some of that is because of the fact that she hasn't dealt really with competition. Like, she's done a lot of acting. If you guys know anything about her history, she's done a lot of commercials, a lot of acting. She's done plays, all kinds of stuff. So she's been exposed to the showbiz world, but not necessarily that whole social environment of being with a bunch of girls.
And that's rough. We all can attest to that being rough. We all went to high school. We all can say that being around a bunch of catty girls, which is inevitable, is a very rough situation. Guys don't have to deal with that.
And not growing up in that environment, being homeschooled.
It's a lot.
And having it
slam you. And I mean, this is probably like a heightened situation like that. Because not only, I mean, it's not like being in college and being in a sorority. I mean, you're around catty girls anyways, but you're in a situation where you're competing against these girls as well. So there's a mixed environment of, I'm friends with this girl, but I'm competing against this girl. I don't really like that girl that much, and I even don't like her even more because she's really, really good. I mean, there's so much at play
Trying to fit in with the girls that you want to like you, but at the same time, you need to beat them. She went from 0 to 100. She literally went from a very isolated situation where it seems to be that her mother was her only friend to this situation where girls like you and I, who are very used to that and socialized, would even have a hard time. So she literally went from 0 to 100. I feel like the anxiety must be debilitating for her.
Well, you know, and also too, being that she was in an environment where it's just her mother, she probably did get a lot of comforting and stuff like that. So now to be put in a space where people are criticizing you, just, you know, on the judges panel, you go to an audition, you either get cut or you get kept. Now you're hearing week after week all the things that you're either doing wrong. And you see her after a lot of her challenges, she'll be like, I don't understand, like I did really great. And she didn't. But the thing is, she might be just used to having that coddling.
The coddling. You know what's interesting to me too? I know she does seem to be cracking, but in the moments where the girls are kind of of like, for example, when she's on the phone with her mom and they're like, the girls in the background, okay, Victoria, you're done, you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
And she's not at all, she's like, okay, they're screaming, I have to go. And then she just hangs the phone up and walks away. Normal girls would be like, hey, back up, give me a effing second and let me finish my phone conversation. She's just like, okay, she kind of like lets it roll off her back, which I think is interesting because
I don't think she's a fighter. Like for her, like to be confrontational and to be a fighter, like that's just not in her personality. Right. So I noticed that as well, and she's just like, okay, mother yelling at me, and I gotta go. Yeah. And, you know, it was just so funny the way she reacts to things. And I think in some ways you do see it, like the girls seem to really care about her. I think they think she's weird, but I think they do all get along. And in part of it's because Victoria, they understand where she's coming from, which is actually really cool. I mean, it doesn't seem like, and even Kiara said at the beginning of the episode, I want to take her under my wing. I hope, you know, I want to help her out. And it's funny because Victoria actually says, I don't really like being around Kiara. She's, you know, I don't like how she's taking over the mother role. And obviously, you know,
that's a big shoes to fill for her.
She doesn't need another mother. I mean, she has a very close one. So, you know, it just seems like the girls are actually being pretty cool to her and understanding and caring. And they, you know, they don't get it in some ways. And they even said, like, you know, I love my mom like to death, but I mean, come on. Something going on here.
The way she goes through the anxiety with her mom and the food doesn't taste and this and this, it's almost the same type of relationship you would have with
a boyfriend,
your soulmate. Which that's where it starts getting a little weird and creepy. And I think the other girls just don't understand.
Yeah, it is.
And that's why I would say they get really impatient. And after a while, they're like, "We'll deal with it for a little while. Okay, now it's getting to be a bit much. You need to stop it."
It's like grow up. It's like grow up, go out and about. Everyone loves their mother. We all love our mothers. I mean, that's without goes without saying. But you got to grow up. You got to get out on your own. And this is kind of her first opportunity to do that, and she's cracking under that pressure.
She is very expressive with her emotions, which I think comes in handy, obviously, which probably makes her a good actress. And I think that you know, I mean, we can get into this when we talk about the photo shoot, but she came onto the set with a very specific backstory that she was very vocal about, to the point where the photographer and Johnny were like, okay.
Yeah, that was an experience.
She is very vocal with how she's feeling, and I think that's a good thing, but I think that people aren't used to, you know, I mean, even if someone was really feeling like, gosh, I miss my mom, I'm so attached, like, I don't know that everyone would vocalize that as much as she does. And I think for being as, I guess, introverted as we think she is because she's homeschooled and whatever, I guess she's not, though. Maybe she's used to expressing emotions, and I think that kind of weirds people out a little too.
Oh yeah.
You know, but
and going back to like the whole eating disorder thing, I think we're all on the same page, whereas it's not so much about her motivation wanting to be skinny or thinner than the other girls, and I think that's kind of the difference here with a lot of times with girls and with an actual eating disorder, they're wanting to get to a certain point, they're wanting to exert that control over their bodies, and like we all said, I don't think it has to do so much with the motivation of controlling, you know, what you look like and wanting to be skinny. It comes from something else, but this is the way that
it manifests itself.
In Victoria, the exercising, the not having, you know, the appetite. And so, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Actually, this is a storyline that I'm very curious to see what happens.
And I like that Tyra is taking responsibility and saying, you know, we recognize everyone's opinion, Victoria's and everyone's in the house, but because it was brought up, it's something that I have to watch, and I think it's really important because we all know how, you know, horribly eating disorders can affect people in situations like in the entertainment industry, especially models. And I think it's great for Tyra to take that responsibility and say, hey, look, not one of my girls. This is not going to happen.
You know, I do have to say something about what Tyra said at the end, and I think like you said, I think that was great that she said it. She's like, I can't just ignore what the other girls aren't saying. I mean, what the other girls are saying, because this is a very serious issue.
It is.
If it is in fact true. The only thing that kind of got to me with what Tyra said is, if I find out you're continuing to do this, you're out. And I was surprised because I was like, oh, I would think it'd be more like, we're checking you in somewhere, we're getting you help. So let's, you know, figure it out. But anyways, you know, the moment's here we've been waiting for. We've got our special guest on the line. Alyssa?
Hi.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So I am Erika Vieira. Thank you so much for calling in, and all of your fans and all the top model fans are super excited to hear what you have to say. And you're here speaking.
Oh, good.
You're here speaking with our co-host.
Hi, Alyssa. I am Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hi, Alyssa. I'm Alikona. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Now that you've called us.
Yay. So Alyssa, let's just get started and right into it. You're a beautiful girl. Your photos, just looking at all your photos, are amazing. And you do call yourself, which is, I think this was amazing. During this episode, you said that you were awesome size. So that was a big focus. Whoa, look at that hot photo of you.
Oh my God, Rob Evans.
That was a beautiful. Yeah. We're looking at the photo of you with Rob, and you just look stunning. But you call yourself awesome size, which was really great. And I think that's the first time I've ever heard that term. So what is your feeling in regards to that, kind of being considered not that stick thin model and having that curvy, beautiful Brazilian body?
You know, I think it's great, and you know, that statement was like, hey, I'm clear. All my fans were like, you're awesome size, I love it, like teasing Tyra about it. And I think it's true. You know, being in the middle, it's something that people really don't see as an option in the modeling world. You know, if you're not, you know, thin, you're plus size. And there happens in the middle. There's always a gray area. And if there's not, then here I am to break the mold and make it. So awesome size, you know, is there. I love it, you know. And I was talking to someone else about if the clothes like fit me well, you know, during the photo shoots and stuff, and they all fit great. And you know, I gave a different style and angle to all the stuff that I wore. So I actually really embrace, you know, my body type. And I have the photo with Rob Evans, you know, I'm half naked, so you get to see all of the awesomeness. And it's like, wow, like, that actually looks nice. I dig it. So, you know, it's exciting.
Alyssa, this is Alikona. I just want to say, with you calling yourself awesome size, you're creating a brand for yourself, whether, I don't know if you realize it or not, but where do you see yourself as a brand?
You know, as a brand, I would say that, you know, if it is for me to have that brand of awesome size, you know, I'm down for it, because I know a lot of girls that can relate to that. And I tweeted and I asked my fans, I was like, does anyone else consider themselves awesome size? And I got a lot of retweets and a lot of replies back. And, you know, I feel like this category opens up a whole new side of modeling. And, it's good to see, you know, because modeling is within. Modeling is a photo. It's not, you know, it's not a size of pants. It's not a size of anything. It's just more a lifestyle, personality. And, you know, I think that it's great. And I think that a lot of girls should embrace it. And instead of trying to fit in with each side of the scope of plus size, you know, or thin, you know, they should have that middle. They should have that range. And I think that it's great that I was, you know, honored and chosen to represent that side, especially on a show where a lot of young girls that, you know, are about to get into high school and stuff like that, and since bullying is an issue, it's good to have them, you know, look up to someone that embraces their body type as well. So I'm really happy to be that person in their lives. So
totally agree. Yeah. You know, and this is kind of more of a statement than a question, but I think it'd be totally great if you had your own like clothing line and called it Awesome Size, and you should be the spokesmodel.
Awesome Size. Yeah. I am so down for that. I mean, hey, modeling was my first foot in the door, so yeah, I'd be so up for it. Fashion line. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome. Alyssa, this is Lauren. And going back to that, we're looking at that picture of you and Rob again. And I'm just looking at this going, okay, first of all, you're very vulnerable in this photo. You're like basically naked. You're with Rob Evans, like, who makes me nervous just looking at him. And you've mentioned before that you have no modeling experience. So what is your advice to girls who want to get into modeling who don't have any experience, but like, what did you do, for example, to make yourself take that beautiful photo with Rob? Like, that's intimidating. How did you get on the set and just go for it and take that beautiful photo? What did you tell yourself?
You know, I had a lot of great help from the photographer, Tony, and he was great. And, you know, taking direction, especially being a new model and being, you know, exercised, you really just have to take direction where you feel is credible. And, you know, Johnny Mujek and Tyra Banks, you know, always get me advice and tips on, you know, work your angles, learn your angles. I feel like you know, doing that and working at it and working at what you know best, you'll get the results like that photo. I mean, that photo surprised me. I was like, oh my gosh, who's that?
Yeah. Who's that hot girl?
So you really just have to put your mind to it and go after it and practice. And might I add, don't take no for an answer.
Great advice.
Just keep working at it.
Great.
So,
did you guys ever help each other out? I mean, I know it was a competition, but I'm just curious, because you didn't have any experience, maybe there were a few girls on the show that did. Were they open to giving you a little bit of direction?
You know what? I honestly never asked for advice from the girls because, you know, there is that little, this is a competition, you know, like you always keep that in the back of your mind that there's only so far into friendship that you can get with these girls, because when it comes to the competition, no one's going to give away their golden ticket, you know? Yeah. So you definitely just have to take advice from what you know, which is, you know, the people that are there to help you, that want to help you get a good shot and, you know, help you build your portfolio and your skills and your experience. So, I you know, what I would do a lot is watch the other girls, because they won't tell you, but all you got to do is watch them, and then you'll see kind of, you know, what they do, how they, if they move slowly, and like their techniques and exchanging poses and stuff like that. So I definitely kept my eyes open and, you know, was there to watch all the photo shoots when I was able to, and that's how I got kind of, you know, into it. So. Yeah,
very smart.
Just keep your eyes open.
That's awesome. Alyssa, this is Erika again. You have such a fantastically positive attitude about everything and your experience, and you could just hear it in your voice. What was your favorite part or your favorite kind of experience being on America's Next Top Model?
My favorite experience? I mean, being on America's Next Top Model itself embodies so many experiences into one. You know, there's so many. Like, I mean, on the show, you see me happy, you see me playful, you see me crying, and so there's so many sides of being on the show that to pinpoint one would just be unfair, and it wouldn't really make sense because they all kind of embody each other. You know, the experience of actually being on the show in a competition, meeting these new people, it's literally like a tidal wave. It's all at once. You know, they don't hold anything back. It's just, oh, here's Tyra, and you get to meet her. And it's like, what? Oh, my God, okay. Like, so you kind of just have to take it all in at once. And being starstruck and, you know, looking at Tyra as your mentor throughout the show, it's something that you got to adjust to. And I love it. And, you know, although we all have different experiences in the show because we all go home at different times because of different reasons, but I think we can all collectively say that, you know, every experience that we had made us better in some way. And that's the thing about life, you know. It's not the end, it's just the beginning, and all the girls say that because it's just very much true. So keep working at it and, you know, using America's Next Top Model as your way into a career and a lifestyle. It's a great opportunity, and it's a blessing, and that's all I can say about it.
That's awesome. You're so positive.
Yeah, positive outlook is a great thing to have in this industry. So that's you've got a leap ahead of everyone with that one.
Well,
thank you.
You mentioned Tyra being a role model to you, and how was that at the end of the episode where you did get eliminated, and how emotional she got? I mean, how was that for you to be in front of someone like Tyra Banks and have her say some of those just words to you? What did you take from that?
You know, what I took from it was hope, and what she basically was giving to me was, you know, hope, and she was sparking the flame that was being put out by my tears. Because when you're so, you know, emotionally just combated with such like a letdown almost, you're like, damn, like I'm eliminated. Like, so like, to have her just pick you back up and to spark that fire again, it's an honor, you know. And she got emotional too, and I cry. Every time I watched, I cried. It's so weird. And all my friends, they said I teared up.
Yeah,
so
I was crying
and
too.
I just was so precious crying, and she does. But yeah, but to have her say that and to comfort me and to, you know, spark my flame back up again, it was absolutely an honor, and it was priceless. You know, it was very much needed, and I definitely thank her for that.
Alyssa, this is Alikona. I'm just curious, once you did get eliminated and then you moved into the other house, what was the difference in energy? Like, was there a difference, and did you enjoy living in one house more than the other?
You know, the energy was probably a little bit more tense, actually.
Really?
Not tense, you know, in between the girls, not like tension between the girls, but it was almost like it was like a little bit more pressure, because it was like, all right, now I have to really, really focus on my fans and remember all those video messages and all those comments that we would see on the TV and have to read. You really have to go back and really, really see and find the positive and, you know, the critique in each comment. Because some comments weren't really critiquing, they were just kind of bashing.
Yeah.
You have to find like the silver lining and to, you know, make it better, because you know, the only thing that you have is your fans to bring you back. So it was hard, and the girls, you know, they welcome you with open arms, and they're just like, okay, we're in this together now, like, let's do it, you know. But it was much more on my plate. I was like, all right, now it's all about my fans. So all the energy has to be into what they want and to producing something to, you know, be what they want me to be, and so. Yeah, it was a little bit tense.
So, but when you guys,
scary.
oh, I'm sorry. I would say, when you guys did participate in the photo shoots, did you, in passing, see the other girls? And then also, did you get any type of feedback the way you would have being in front of a panel?
You know, I'm not really sure. You know, we wouldn't, you know, get a lot of feedback. It was really what we felt, and obviously we had a little connection with the photographer because he would take our pictures, you know, as well. So that was basically our main source, you know, was with the photographer and see what Bryanboy tells us, you know, about what our fans, you know, were thinking or whatever. So it was a lot in one. So you definitely would just have to find the right things to do and to make your fans happy so they're happy with your photo, and you know, ultimately can vote you up and get that little spot, to that little slim chance to get back in the house and back in the competition. So yeah.
Well, I hope all your fans listening are putting those votes in. So let's hope for that.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, you know, one of the things that we were discussing before you got on to our conversation, we were talking a little bit about Victoria, because in this episode, there was a lot of emphasis on you and you just really pushing for your dream, but then opposing that was the concern with Victoria. So I'm just curious what maybe we didn't see, because obviously there's video editing and stuff like that, if there was anything else peculiar that was going on with her that rose a little bit more concern for you.
You know, the editing so far, I think actually that the editing has been pretty spot on with what happens, you know, in the show. And they do leave things out. But, you know, just like anyone else, I mean, all they show is just Victoria's, you know, troubles with missing her mom and, you know, fluctuating eating habits. And so that kind of puts her on the map. But, you know, I don't think people realize that we have no TV and we have a phone that we can use, you know, but we don't have really any outside source but each other and the pool. So, you know, all you can really do is just sit around and talk about the competition. So it's an environment that's not built for everyone. And Victoria, coming from a sheltered lifestyle, it was much harder on her. And what she would do to help her, you know, she would just read notes, you know, letters from her mom, you know, she was able to write people. So that was her comfort thing. And, you know, she would just be by herself sometimes and just kind of focus and get back in the game, because she did feel a little bit of the strain of the competition, just like everyone else did. And, I mean, me, every time I was on panel, basically, you just see me crying, and you're like, well, what's she playing? And it's because, you know, it's honestly emotional, and I'm not one to cry. I mean, I consider myself a tough cookie. But, you know, it's a very stressful situation sometimes, and it can get to you. So yeah, Victoria just, she has her crazy moments, but she's a fun character, and you know, it's very hard being in a situation like that, and that's very unfortunate.
I think as viewers, we all kind of got that, like, this situation is a very, like, heightened level of competition and women and everyone's fighting and scratching to get somewhere. So I think that was very obvious, and it just, like you said, Alyssa, some people handle it better than others, but I feel like I totally see how emotional you can get, especially in the judging room. Like, I'm not an emotional girl either, but I totally see that. And, like, again, like we talked about, to see Tyra so emotional too, is like, she's really fighting for you guys, and she's really making a connection with you. But Tyra, I feel like this episode really showed how complimentary she was of you. I think she was a really big fan of yours, Alyssa, and she even said that she called you like a fiercely real looking woman, and I think that Tyra likes that because that's sort of what people call Tyra too. She's very real. And how did that make you feel? Did you feel like, I mean, I think there's probably two sides to that, like, oh, the pressure to live up to what she's saying, but then also it feels so good to hear her say that. Like, how did that make you feel when she was saying all those things to you?
You know, I also think that Tyra was one of my biggest advocates on the show and that panel. She always, you know, gave me a good score, and I always agreed with her scoring too. And yeah, she definitely, like, she was on my side, man, and we had that connect, me and Tyra. You know, we kind of just came from the same, like, background. She, you know, said that she once was that little black girl with the big forehead, and, you know, I was that really, really tall girl with the bob cut, frizzy hair, braces, and glasses. So, you know, I have to match for my height and, you know, kind of evaluate, you know, like in high school and stuff. And I was always the girl that had boobs, that had a butt. And it's just like, whoa, you know, you're in 6th grade. Where'd that come from? So, you know, we kind of connected on that level. And to hear someone's advice from someone who has, you know, almost walked beside you in the same type of events in her past, it's really relative and relatable, and you listen to it more, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, I completely understand. It's not something that she was just talking out of vain. You know, she actually has felt like I felt, and to have her give me some advice, you know, like I said, it's just priceless, and it's absolutely an honor that I could have her get emotional with me on that level, and we can have a little crying moment about how, you know, it used to suck, but now we're pretty much great right now, you know, in our body types, and embracing that awesome size figure.
Well, Alyssa, it's been an honor having you here at AfterBuzz TV, and we want to thank you for all the amazing things that, you know, you had to say, and your attitude is awesome. You know, before we go roll up, you know, one last question is, what's your goal now? Now after top model, you said you know you weren't a model before. What are your kind of dreams, aspirations after the show?
Well, the one thing I learned from being on the show is I love being in front of the camera. I mean, I could just sit with the camcorder in my room and talk about my day. And I really just want to be back in front of the camera, whether it be, you know, modeling and acting, you know, maybe get into hosting. You know, there's so many different paths that I could go in, and this was just the beginning, just a taste of what I can do and my abilities. So I definitely just want to use these resources and the people that I've met and the skills that I've learned. I want to use it in the real world, in that type of industry. You know, my dad owns a newspaper company, so he's all these events, you know, down south. And I love that lifestyle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Journalists and being interviewed, talking. Like I could talk for days, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're great. We could talk to you for days.
Exactly. We could talk to you for days. You're very, very well spoken. And where can we find you at on Twitter, Alyssa? What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter is Alyssa Vieira. At Alyssa Laura, just my name, and follow me on Instagram. Mostly all the pictures about my dog.
I will.
And my Instagram is _Vieira, and on Facebook you can also find me at Alyssa Vieira. That's my regular name, and you can get my personal Facebook, and I'll add you. Okay?
Yay!
And like my phone page. So if you want to keep updated on what I'm doing, you know, where I'm at, just add me guys.
Yes, I'm sure all your fans here at AfterBuzz TV will definitely will be doing that and checking you out. So, Alyssa, once again, thank you so much for talking to us, and good luck with the second competition. We'll be rooting for you.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Yay.
Bye.
She was so sweet.
She was so nice. She was so positive.
I loved it.
They didn't really show too much of her personality on the show. I feel like they did show it in this last episode because the focus was on her.
Right.
And, you know, she was, you know, getting booted out, but she was such a positive person. You could tell through the microphone. What an amazing girl.
I feel like I see big things for her, like personality-wise, like commercially, hosting, anything. I think she would rock with that. I think that's a great idea for her. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, all right, now we got to kind of speed through this last part of the show. This is always the most exciting part, though, talking about the photos. So we got the photo shoot, which was, by the way, I love this photo shoot. I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was a really fun, you know, method modeling, like Tyra said, you know, going grungy, not letting the girls shower, and just really kind of having that nylon, grungy, edgy photo shoot. What did you guys think about it?
I liked the photo shoot. I liked seeing the girls kind of like that ugly pretty that Tyra likes to talk about. And I definitely think that these photos were really interesting of the girls. We got to see them in a more edgy light. It reminded me a little bit of that photo shoot. It was like in the beginning of the season. I don't remember what cycle it was, probably like 6 or something like that, like way back there, 10 maybe, where the girls were doing really controversial things. Like there was one girl who was like doing the eating disorder, and she was like, remember there was a whole bunch of, and looking at this picture of Kristin, kind of, it was reminiscent of that. The edginess of this photo shoot reminded me of the edginess of that photo shoot, and I really liked seeing them take it to that level, like really having to go there, so it was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was an awesome photo shoot.
Definitely.
So yeah, let's just jump right into the girls.
Brittany was first.
Yeah, Brittany. Yeah, Brittany was #1.
I liked it. I thought it was great. It reminded me, if you guys are familiar with that music video by Fiona Apple, Criminal.
Yes,
exactly
totally Criminal.
The vibe I got from this. I thought it was a great photo. And typically, I like her, but I haven't been her biggest fan. I do like this photo a lot.
I like this photo. This is her best photo to me, and this was one of my favorite photos. She did get second best photo. She deserved it, I think. I think her photo was better than the best photo, but I don't know that I would have picked her photo as the best photo, if that makes any sense. But I didn't really like Nastasia's photo that much, but I love this photo of Brittany.
I love this, and I think with Brittany, unfortunately, I think she has to come out with things like this because they see her as a very kind of straight kind of a girl, like they could kind
Disney.
of pigeonhole her and that's it. And for her to pull this out, I think at this point in the competition was pretty crucial for her to continue, and I'm really glad she did it because this was an amazing photo. And I'm not like the biggest fan of hers, but this photo kind of redeemed my faith in her.
She rocked it.
Yeah, she rocked it. So then the next girl was Kiara.
Laura.
Oh, Laura. That's right.
And she talked about going into this photo shoot not wanting to be too confident, and this is where we see her trip and fall. And it got her all the way back into the bottom. So that was a real reality check for her.
And you could even see it during the panel. My God, she was just devastated.
Turning red. Did you see those splotches? Yeah. She was getting real nervous.
Yeah.
I did not like this photo. No. I thought it was so boring. She didn't even, her eyes were not looking up at the camera at all. She was just like, and there's a toilet and I'm going to lean on it. Like, I think she could have really went for it, and she did not.
I think she's trying.
And I feel like she had one of those situations, to be quite honest, that she could have, like you said, Laura, she could have really worked it. I mean, this was a cool situation. Not cool, but she had some good things to work for. She didn't have to lick the floor. She didn't have to pour anything on her. It was a relatively clean set for her.
Right.
And what she was expected to be doing, she could have just really added a lot more to it. And I have to say, I was disappointed because Tyra even said this during the judging, like, we put you up to a higher standard coming from the background that you've come from and also from what you've showed us. Right. And this just does not live up to par. So unfortunately for Laura, her kind of perfect, almost like attendance rate, or her perfect, I don't know, what she's been doing.
Record.
Record. Now there's a little bit of a crack there, and they're showing, is there an inconsistency?
And I like that it showed that in this competition, it is a case-to-case, photo-to-photo situation, because she's been winning the challenges and getting top photo. And you know what? This time she didn't make it, and they said, you know what? Too bad. Bottom. I mean, it was obvious she wasn't going to get eliminated at that point, but she didn't take a very good photo, and she kind of deserved to be in the bottom. So
I agree. Okay.
Let's get into photo number 3. Victoria.
I
saw this.
This is a great photo.
I love it.
No, definitely.
This was my #1 photo. I think her face, the way they did her makeup in this one, she almost looked like a different person to me. Like she looked really, I mean, as ugly pretty what the makeup was, I think she looked gorgeous.
But Victoria does that, though. I think she looks different in every photo. She's like a Linda Evangelista. She doesn't look like her, but she's like just transforms into these different people. And I think that she, I mean, it's a little weird that she walked onto the set in character like, I'm Baptist, I can't have an abortion. Johnny Wujek and the photographer were like, what the F is happening?
Wait. No. My favorite part was when, like, she's in character, she finishes, and they're like, great job, and she's like, thank you. I'm so glad I'm not pregnant. But then she goes, nice to meet you, and then just walks away.
And they were like, you go, girl. But you know what? Whatever it takes, right?
Exactly.
She might be a little quirky, she might be a little weird, but hey, you think about the method actors out there like Sean Penn, and you hear about the weird crazy stuff they do
and all
to get there. Well, they're winning the Oscars, so you know what? Good for her. This is an amazing photo. Whatever it took to get there, okay, fine, but I love this photo, and it was one of my favorites.
And, you know, I'm glad that she came out with a good photo, because during the shoot, Johnny Wujek and I forgot the photographer's name.
Douglas.
They were saying, like, I don't know, it's just a little much. The photographer's like, you know, there's a way to get into it, but there's a way that it's too much. And so if she didn't end up with a good photo, this could have all kind of been like egg on her face or just kind of thrown right back at her. But she delivered. They came out with a good photo, and so she can, in some ways, has license to continue acting kind of kooky like that. But
it allows her to do that.
It does, because I was really interested to see what kind of photo would come out of it, because the way the photographer and way Johnny was talking about it, you weren't really sure.
You weren't sure, exactly.
So
Kristin was next.
I love this photo. Honestly, this is one of my favorites.
I love the tights too. I love those tights. No, I like those tights.
I like the whole outfit. She rocks that outfit. It's a very good look for her. The high-waisted short, the tights. She's, you know, the photo turned out great, but watching the photo shoot happen like on a motion picture camera was different than how it came out, because I was like, what is that? She looks uncomfortable. Her body looks like uncomfortable, like tense. But I think the photo ended up turning out really well. I mean, it's obviously probably hard to pour 5 gallons of milk down your throat, and so I get it, but it read tense on the motion picture camera when when we saw the photo. She looks great.
I mean, to give her credit too. I mean, I know she was complaining about the milk, and the other girls were saying, oh, you know, be quiet. But honestly, like, that would suck, having to pour that much milk on you, like, constantly. And then I was wondering, like, what's gonna happen, like, with her makeup or her outfit. Like, she's got to get these shots right, because she only has so many chances. Whereas the other girls, you know, like Laura, could just kind of sit there and move around. So in some ways, and Tyra did do that at the end, especially with Alyssa. Like, at least they took into consideration the difficulty of the shoots.
The level of
because even like we just saw, Victoria was just sitting on the toilet. I don't know what she was doing. This was a lot more difficult to achieve.
You know what though? I will say it could be hard or easier depending on how you look at it, because she had one specific thing she needed to do. And yes, it might have been difficult, but, you know, close your throat and let the milk spill down your face. I'm not saying it was easy or that I could have done it, but if you have just an open set and you're like, go sit on a toilet, make it look good, like, that could be harder, because you have like a range of things to do. You got to make it look good in your own mind. She had one thing she had to do, and she did that the whole time. So I think that it was so specific that if that's all she was doing, I think that could be easier than just being like, all right, go sit on that toilet and just do whatever. And as you can see, Kristin made that look horrible. She had a toilet to work with, and she made it look.
Laura.
Oh, Laura.
Laura. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Laura. She, you know, so the lack of specificity could be hard.
Well, either way, I mean, Kristin rocked the shoot.
They loved it.
Yeah, they loved it.
She looks great.
Yeah, she does look great. She was number 3 called.
Yeah.
So, and what's interesting too, we can kind of talk a little bit about this too, is that during the judging, Kelly is still a fan. Still a fan of Kristin.
She likes her.
You know, she had 8s across the board, and Kelly was still rooting for Kristin. So,
that's right.
Mean girl bond, Lauren, isn't that your theory?
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right, let's move on.
To Kiara.
Kiara. So, I have to say, first off, I actually liked this photo of Kiara. I thought it was pretty good, and I was surprised in judging that they weren't as positive about it.
Right.
Because I think the way her body is, and
she used her space well. She looks stunning, but you know, they did that thing to her again, and I feel like they do it to her a lot, and it's Kelly. You know, you just look too pretty to be in the trash can. That's not her fault.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with the cheerleader photo, and she's like, why are you not in the air? Not her fault. Are you putting that into your score? Because so that's not okay.
I agree that is kind of annoying, but I will say this.
Well, Kelly gave her a pretty high score. She gave her an 8.
I like this photo of Kiara. I think she looks great. She's filling up the whole space, and I think that proves that she's got a long body. The thing is that I feel like she looks like she's a corpse in the dumpster, and that's not what it was supposed to be. So to me, I'm not getting the direction of how the photo was supposed to go, the story that she's trying to tell. That's where I didn't. I like just looking at it as it is, but knowing that it was supposed to be her like rummaging through or trying to, you know, I just feel like it didn't look like it was supposed to.
That's true. That's a good point. I mean, that is a good point because you're right. I mean, technically, isn't she supposed to be after a hard night out looking for like food or something?
She's looking for her purse or her cell phone.
Something. And you don't see that here. I mean, I do like the photo. I think it's a good photo. I still think she's gorgeous. Like I think she's got this beautiful kind of, I don't know, like Pocahontas thing going on.
Yes.
She can just really rock that, and I think she's a gorgeous girl. But that's a good point about the photo. So,
And real quick tidbit, I love her energy too. I mean, all you ever hear her talk about is this is such a great opportunity, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, and I really enjoy that about her as well.
I agree.
So, but you know, moving on to number 6,
Nastasia,
our winner.
Yeah, you know, you said this a little bit ago, Lauren, that this wasn't your favorite photo. It wasn't mine either. I wouldn't have put her at number 1. I think it's up there. It's an okay. To be honest, I'm not that crazy about it.
I don't think they should have told her to scrunch. And I understand why she was so concerned about, they keep telling me I'm short, and now the photographer's telling me scrunch. And I don't think she looks long in this picture.
I don't think she does either. No. And this is where I would have said, if I were her, okay, help me scrunch my body and look long at the same time. She should. If I were her, I would. Maybe they didn't show that, but I would have vocalized that. But she just sort of like did what they told her to do. But you know what? They don't know what the judges are telling her behind the scenes. This is her job to make sure that she's taking the input on set and the input from the judges and marrying them together to get a good photo. And luckily, she, I guess, doesn't look that short here. I don't think she looks super. I mean, maybe she should have like stretched her leg out or something. I don't know how to do that, but I would have asked if I were her. And to agree with you, Erika, it's not my favorite photo. You can't really see her face. You're kind of looking up her nose. It's a very Nylon-esque shot, I will say that. But
even her hand placement like looks off to me. Like it just looks like it's just hanging there. Whereas I'm surprised you didn't say they're always all about kind of with your hands and your body, like being super aware of it. To me, it just looks like she's just
like not finished.
Not finished. She's just leaning there, and in her face, there's none of that like pulling of the face that Tyra likes, like the you know the eyes or the lips.
The tension in the face is not there.
It just
it was just middle of the road to me.
Me too, and I'm just surprised she got number 1. I just have to say it. I was just really surprised. I mean, as a model though, I think she's amazing.
Yes.
I think she's awesome, and I think she's taken much better photos in this. And maybe at this point they're wanting to acknowledge that in some way. I don't know. And also keep in mind too, maybe she was voted very high in the social media.
True.
Yeah.
So, and those were taken into consideration as well, but I think we're all in agreement, like,
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go on to our last and final photo.
Alyssa, our eliminated contestant.
She's so nice, I don't want to say anything bad about it.
She really went for it, too. She had a very hard photo where she had to pour soda out of the bottle and then try and lick it up, and she just went for it until the roach appeared, which freaked me out. But I mean,
I really wish the photographer would have started snapping when the soda was exploding.
Yes, well, maybe they did.
They might have, but she was also laughing when that happened. I don't know that was the shot that was supposed to happen. I mean, I think this is a hard photo to take. I think that
her body is great. I think if she would have looked at the camera, it would have changed.
It's her face and it's her eyes. Because I mean, I have to say, I'll be honest. This is not a good photo, and this is not a good. I mean, when you look at the rest of her photos, she did so much better. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that this one turned out, or this is the one that they picked, because her face is gorgeous, and you don't. I mean, you kind of see that here, but she needed to move up, put her eyes, and which is you know what Tyra said. She needed to put her eyes up, and it would have completely changed the photo. I think, you know, I don't even know that might have saved her. I don't know, but
sad to see her go. But it wasn't. If she would have just directed her gaze towards the camera, I think it could have made a big difference.
All the difference. And we have to acknowledge, and you know, Tyra did acknowledge and gave her a little bit of a boost in points. The fact that this was super hard.
It was a hard photo.
I mean, beyond hard. Like, who wants to sit there and lick the floor? And she went for it, and we give her props. And knowing now how cool she is and her attitude, it's no surprise that she went for it and she wasn't complaining. complaining or being a diva about it. So props to her, and you know, I think we wish her well in the future and everything. But you know, we're rounding out our time here, so we don't have time for any news and gossip, but we got you that great interview with Alyssa, and you know, thank you so much for listening. And where can we find everybody?
You can find me on at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and my website.
And you can find me at Kiss My Passport or follow me on Facebook and Tumblr, Alikona Bradford.
And I'm Erika Vieira, and you can find me at Erika Vieira LA. Well, thanks so much, guys, for listening.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.